Welcome to my channel. It is a great pleasure having you here today. I want to discuss about the top 10 fastest bikes in the world. Suzuki Hayabusa, 190 horsepower, starting at $19,399. It probably comes as no surprise to see Suzuki's iconic Hayabusa at the top of the list, even though it's no longer the king of speed, at least in absolute terms. It's the bike that dethroned Honda's CBR1100XX as fastest production bike, egging on a top-speed race among manufacturers, eventually leading to the so-called gentleman's agreement between the Japanese Big Four manufacturers that restricted road bikes to 186 miles per hour back in 1999. The latest General Buser debuted in 2022 and continued the speed party with slick new electronics and an engine update, all while becoming Euro 5 compliant. In current form, it is propelled by a muscular 1340cc inline 4-cylinder engine housed in a thoroughly updated chassis with excellent manners and top-shelf components, all managed by a formidable suite of electronic rider aids and covered in uniquely shaped bodywork that still screams Hayabusa. Last we checked, the engine was good for 187.74 horsepower at 9,700 revolutions per minute and 110.6 pounds. Foot of torque at 7,000 rpm, and is electronically governed to the aforementioned 186 mph, but our test unit hit 60 miles per hour in 2.85 seconds, which should be quick enough to satisfy even the most determined speed junkies. For 2025, the Hayabusa gets a launch control system and smart cruise control system. Kawasaki's X14 RABS, 192 horsepower, starting at $17,599. Kawasaki originally rolled out the ZX14 in 2006, after the aforementioned agreement went into effect, so it could only max out at 186 miles per hour. But by 2012, Kawasaki took off the kid gloves, making massive upgrades to the engine and chassis to reclaim the ZX14R's place as the top dog of power and acceleration. Engine displacement increased to 1441 cc, and the mill received an all-new cylinder head with hotter cams, new forged pistons, and a higher 12.3:1 compression ratio. The chassis and suspension components likewise were substantially improved, making the ZX14R Kawi's biggest and baddest sport bike model, at least until the supercharged H2 series came along. In its marketing materials, Kawasaki still calls it the quarter-mile king, and the ZX14R did in fact post uncorrected 9.7 second, 147 miles per hour plus passes on a bone stock bike, piloted by drag strip champ Ricky Gadsden, at the intro back in 2011. On our dyno, we recorded 192 rear wheel ponies and 113 pounds. Foot of torque. Although the dated electronic rider aids aren't quite on par with the rest of the class, the 14R's fully adjustable suspension, excellent brakes, and rock-solid chassis make for a more comfortable, easier-to-ride rocket than you might think. Ducati Panigale V4S, 209 horsepower, starting at $33,895. Some of the bikes on this list have evolved slowly over the years, and some of them haven't changed for ages, because what's the point of further development when you've hit the peak of straight-line performance? Well, the Panigale V4S was designed to get around a racetrack as quickly and efficiently as possible in an effort to regain its World Superbike title and hang on to its Moto America Championship crown. And while the engine that powers this latest version of Ducati's flagship superbike hasn't made much in the way of performance gains, everything else about this motorcycle has taken a radical leap forward. The 1103cc 90-degree V4 Desmosedici Stradale engine has evolved from the unit that preceded it, but primarily in an effort to meet Euro 5 plus emissions. That is ironic because the Euro spec models make 216 horsepower while the US-bound bikes make 209. But no matter how you look at it, this engine is a technological masterpiece. But what is the point of all that power if it isn't usable? Ducati has been at the forefront of the electronics revolution for years now, taking its MotoGP winning technology and passing it down to the Panigale. The latest iteration includes radical technology in the Ducati Vehicle Observer (DVO) algorithm, which is an electronic rider aid mode that essentially predicts what the bike is going to do before traction is lost by analyzing 70 different inputs and determining how to intervene. Mind blown? Yeah, us too. Aprilia RSV4 Factory 1100, 217 horsepower. Aprilia may not currently compete in the World Superbike Championship, dedicating its resources to MotoGP and the pair of teams it fields at that level, but the brand new 2025 RSV4 Factory Superbike has benefited massively from Grand Prix trickle-down technology. Anyone who watches MotoGP is well aware of the current aerodynamics race, as it's out in the open for all to see. One of the primary goals with this latest RSV4 was to reduce drag and improve rider protection. The updated front winglet is set to reduce the bike's tendency to wheelie by 8%, while also lowering the bike's drag coefficient by 6%. Kawasaki H2R, 300 horsepower, the fastest bike on Kawasaki's 2025 docket. You are looking at the absolutely bonkers H2R, which currently holds the title of the fastest production motorcycle on the market. That's mainly because it's a track-only bike, a description you would expect from a machine rated to hit top speeds of between 206 and 249 miles per hour. The blistering claimed, approximate, 322 horsepower and 121.5 pounds. Fort of torque come courtesy of a 998cc supercharged engine stuffed into a lightweight tube steel trellis frame. The centrifugal type supercharger is so efficient at compressing air, no heavy intercooler is required to cool that compressed air. For 2025, Aprilia has updated the V4 engine. Lightning LS 218, 244 horsepower. It's not often that you see a vehicle's top line number displayed right there on the fuel tank, but since Lightning's LS 218 superbike has held the title of the world's fastest street-legal production electric motorcycle since 2014, it seems justified. The top speed of 218 miles per hour was achieved via calculations of power and wind resistance, and then validated at Bonneville Speedway using a modified LS 218. So in stock form the bike won't bear the same numbers, but they're close. On its website, Kawasaki H2R, 300 horsepower, the fastest bike on Kawasaki's 2025 docket. You are looking at the absolutely bonkers H2R, which currently holds the title of the fastest production motorcycle on the market. That's mainly because it's a track-only bike, a description you would expect from a machine rated to hit top speeds of between 206 and 249 miles per hour. The blistering claimed, approximate, 322 horsepower and 121.5 pounds. Fort of torque come courtesy of a 998cc supercharged engine stuffed into a lightweight tube steel trellis frame. Thanks for watching. You can kindly like, subscribe and share for more videos.